Welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Oh my god, Galactic Labazon, it is the start of season 4! Can you believe it? Woo! Exactly. Yeah! We have such an awesome season set up for you this year. We are going to be researching artists, naturalists, scientists, Marvel gals, witches, and way more. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to see who each of you brings to the table to talk about. So we are starting January out with revolutionary gals. These are gals that aren't necessarily tied to the American Revolutionary War. Or any war, for that matter. These are gals that we determined to be revolutionary in their lives. So let me introduce my merry band of rebels for this month's episodes. So first up, if the revolution starts tomorrow, she'd be the one feeding the troops with delicious baked goods, and her battle cry would be, "You got this!" It's Katie Harris! Yay, Katie!
Well, thank you.
Katie, remind the good people of 2022 who you are and what you do.
People in the future.
I know, right? Exactly. Future times.
Right now, I do nothing because I am on winter break.
Must be nice.
I know. Working for the schools is the way to go.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I didn't even know what day it was the other day. You guys are.
See?
It's lucky I'm here.
Yeah, there you go. I did feel like there needed to be a couple reminders for myself included because the library's been closed. So I'm like, what day is it?
What are we doing? I lead book club for Gals Guide.
Yeah, you do.
So I want to throw that out there because I'm really excited about our next year. We're going to read some incredible books.
Yes.
So
What's first on the list?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
This doesn't at all sound like a setup segue. Go on.
To embrace our theme of revolutionary gals,
Yes.
we're going to be reading In the Time of the Butterflies. I think that's going to be... It's going to be a read, I think, with a lot of emotions, but it's a mix of true history and fiction. So I think it's going to weave a really beautiful story for all of us to read and explore together. And it's going to be following these women that stand up to a dictator.
Ooh.
Like you gotta.
I like it already. Sweet. Well, next up, if the revolution starts tomorrow, she'd be the one painting the protest signs, and her battle cry would be, "Pet all the puppies!"
Yes.
It's Bonnie Fillenworth, y'all. Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
So, Bonnie, introduce yourself to the good people who might be listening for the first time.
My name's Bonnie Fillenworth. I'm a visual artist. I do paintings of women throughout history. I'm also the library manager here at Gals Guide.
Woot woot.
And yeah.
You're like, and I'm on vacation.
Yeah. I also work a full-time job
Yes.
and collect seeds, and I'm getting my master's and
Woo!
and library and information science.
She's gonna be our library unicorn.
Yeah.
Love it. So you don't do much.
Okay.
Got it.
Yep. Free time.
Bonnie does all the things, and we love her
Yes.
for it. Next up is a first-time guest, long-term listener. If the revolution started tomorrow, she'd be in the streets knocking on doors and getting the town inspired. Her battle cry would be, "Bring the alcohol!"
Hell yes.
Welcome, Lisa Cardona! Yay! Lisa, tell the good people about yourself.
Oh, well, that's such an existential question.
It is.
I don't know. I'm a recently retired human resources director, and now I'm doing volunteer work, of which is the library. I am the volunteer coordinator here at the library. So
Yes, she
anybody
is.
out there listening who would like to help,
Mhm.
please get in touch with me.
Yes,
Mhm.
Lisa is fantastic at her job. We very much appreciate. She wrangles all the good people to come help us.
That's right.
As for me, I am Dr. Leah Leach. I'm the executive director of Gals Guide, and I just might be the one who starts the revolution. Who knows? I assume because I started a library and started a company and all that kind of good stuff, I'd probably start the revolution too. But my battle cry would be an homage to Gil Scott-Heron because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live. Sorry, it's one of my favorite songs of all time. I love that song. Okay, so before we dive in with our first cool gal, let's see what we have going on the Gals Guide calendar. This is a new addition to the podcast. So whether you are near the library or far from the library, you get this little, teaser bit of what's coming on this particular week. So, for the week of January 3rd through the 9th of 2022, we have 3 awesome events at the Gals Guide Library. The first one is on Thursday, January 6th. We are hosting the Girls Positivity Club. This is the 3rd time that these girls have been in the library making crafts that tie into beneficial life strategies. They are awesome, and their founder, Melissa Jones, is simply amazing. You can register your gal at girlspositivityclub.org. Then on Friday, January 7th, is First Fridays here at the Nickel Plates Art Campus. The Gals Guide Library is going to be showcasing books that feature revolutionary gals. Hence, our theme, right? So we will have books on display throughout the campus. There we go. B's and P's are very hard for me. But there is going to be art, beer, wine, and music, and hopefully rum, because that's what I have tonight. It is a perfect time to see what is new at the library. It's also a great time to drop off any book donations you might have. Bonnie was already coming in with some possible white elephant gifts that she got. So I'm just saying, if you get some white elephant gifts or you get some duplicate gifts, the library will gladly take them. So First Fridays are Friday from 6 to 9. And then the last event that we have going on this week is Saturday, January 8th. It is our Stitchin' Bitch. It is the second Saturday of every month. You come to the library with your crafty project. We even say, you don't have to be stitching, but there's gonna be some bitchin', right? So we have a lot of fun. We have cross-stitch kits that are available. We even have coloring pages. So just come and have really fun with your projects. If you forget one, we got one for you. That is on Saturday from 12 to 2. So check out all of our cool calendar events coming up at galsguide.org. But now, let's start the revolution! Bonnie, you gonna start us off with season 4?
Oh, looks like
Absolutely.
Who is your revolutionary gal, Bonnie?
Is a lady that I've been itching to do.
Oh, yes.
For a long time.
Right, she's like the
I looked
bucket
at the
list.
calendar the other day to see if I could stick her in anywhere.
Yes.
And I think she fits with this month's theme.
All right. Dun,
I'm
dun, dun.
gonna
Color me
do,
intrigued.
Benazir Bhutto.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I gotcha. I love it. I always wanted to know more about her, so I'm eager to know.
She was born June 21st of 1953.
Gotcha.
I forgot to write down how to pronounce her father's name. Her father
So she had a father.
was... You know what? I think they just called him Ali Bhutto a lot.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they actually used his first name.
Oh, all
I
right.
think every time I've heard it, I did 2 documentaries and a series of podcasts, and I think they just called him Ali Bhutto.
There you go.
So,
Sweet.
but he was at one point the UN representative for Pakistan.
Okay.
And then eventually the first, democratically elected prime minister
Gotcha.
of Pakistan.
Sweet.
Because it's very much a military state.
Mhm.
And he started the Pakistan's People Party, or the PPP.
I was going to say, is it the P3 or is it the PPP? Okay, got it. All right, there you go. It's almost like pew, pew, pew. PPP.
Well, I was helping to potty train my grandson, so.
Let's ring the bell.
Totally the PPP.
Yeah.
He moved, during his reign, he moved the holy day to Friday
Oh.
and outlawed alcohol.
I mean, I'm sure that's a great idea, but not at this particular club.
It's very much a
As Lisa and I go
Muslim-
for our beverages,
it's
take
very
our rum
much
away from our
a,
cold dead
Muslim
hands.
country.
Yeah, I guess
So
that makes
they
sense.
don't really like the alcohol much.
Yeah, true.
He once met with President Kennedy,
Ah.
and Kennedy told him that if Bhutto was an American, he would have him on his cabinet.
Ah.
To which Bhutto replied that if he were an American, he would be in Kennedy's place.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good comeback.
He promoted education for the people and was against gender limitations.
Oh, cool.
He was very much for equality between the sexes.
Sweet. And rare.
Um,
Especially in the 60s.
Yeah.
His mother, Nusrat, was not only a wife, but now I'm worried that this is... That's not his wife. That's not his wife. That's his mother. His mother was a husband. Well, I put that she was not only
going
a
down that road.
I I put that she's not only a wife but a close partner, but that's to his dad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She was Iranian and she drove a car.
What? Because you were talking about Saudi Arabian women who weren't allowed to drive cars but did it anyway.
He remembers that Benazir remembers her mother always being well-dressed and confident.
Gotcha.
She had 3 siblings.
Okay.
I wrote down how to pronounce them. Shanawaz, Sanam, and Murtaza.
Cool. Those are pretty.
Two boys and I believe a girl.
Okay.
Her father told her that she always instilled that she owes a debt to her people.
Gotcha.
Because they were part of kind of like the upper class. They were like the Kennedys of Pakistan.
Gotcha.
They were the upper class. They're a very political family. And he was very much aware of, like when she was off at school later, she was on a foreign exchange program.
Mhm.
Like he reminded you, it's like, it is your job to learn well and then come back and like repay this debt to your people.
Gotcha.
Like he was very much like
Public service is going to be your life. Yeah.
because they had up to that point been like a very like a serf society.
Gotcha.
There's like a whole bunch of like there's very low class
Yeah.
and a giant gap to the upper classes. Like there's not really a middle class there.
Right.
So he's always instilling that she's a debt that she needs to repay to her people. She didn't like her. Benazir didn't like her name growing up, and it kind of roughly translates to "without compare."
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
nice.
Yeah.
She went to.
I can see how you could take it either way, though.
Yeah.
But-
She went to Harvard during the height of the
Nice.
Vietnam War and the women's
Oh.
liberation.
Hey.
She also spent some time at Oxford.
Wow.
And she followed her father on a diplomatic mission to India. This was around the time of I need to brush up on, because this was not covered in my history classes growing up.
Right, 'cause
with
it's what,
India
Middle
and
Eastern.
Pakistan
I lived
being
it,
two
so how can I
separate-
help you?
Right. How are you on your Middle
It was
Eastern?
around the time
Indian
of
history, yeah.
the separation of Pakistan and
And
India.
India.
This is
Right.
like 60s and 70s. The whole
Right.
to do there.
The skirmish on the border. Yeah.
Her father lost an election to a military leader.
Okay. During wartime, that seems normal.
Yeah, was very much a military. Like even when they have a democratically elected leader, it's really the military leading the country.
Okay.
So it's just kind of much of like how much they want to fight against it. But
And go with the flow with it, sort of
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But her father lost an election to a military leader, dude.
Gotcha.
And then so he was arrested
Oh,
because
because he lost?
yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
All right. They were
Yeah.
worried that, he would overthrow or something like
Probably.
that. So
Yeah.
just like, arrest him. That'll cover it.
Yeah. So they arrested him. He was like, they never charged him with anything. He was just in jail for a while, and they
Right.
eventually hung him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was hoping they would just let him go right before the next election.
No,
They hung him?
They hung him at like
Oh my
2 a.m.
And he was not convicted of anything.
He was not like convicted of anything. It's to keep him from doing an uprising or
right.
whatever.
Or running again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yep. And they did. There were some weird things about like his funeral. I guess they didn't let like the family see the body, or there's some kind of funeral rites stuff in their
Okay.
culture that we're not allowed
Oh.
with that.
Interesting. The plot thickens.
Yep. Her brother.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. No, I was like, I put his.
so far it's
Pronunciation
sounding
up there.
very Shakespearean.
Right,
It's
of course.
very
yes.
like crazy. Her brother, Murtaza,
Mhm.
ended up hijacking a plane in order to exchange hostages for political prisoners.
Oh, gotcha.
And that didn't go well.
I would usually not.
Yeah.
No.
That never
Um,
ended.
I mean, the
well.
word hijacker and then hostages. I'm like,
Yeah.
this isn't gonna.
I mean, like,
great.
well intentions, I guess.
Sure.
Maybe not the best way to go around that.
Misguided,
Oh.
yeah.
Benazir and at some point, like her mother, both spend time in and out of prison for years, never convicted of anything.
Right.
They go back and forth between being in prison to being on basically house arrest.
Gotcha.
In prison, she complained about ear pain. Doctors gave her medicine, which ended up being tranquilizers.
Oh.
And she was eventually released due to ill health. They were just kind of like they didn't want to like kill her, but like
Drug her up and
Yeah.
keep her... Oh, no.
yeah, it was weird.
Ooh.
Yeah, but she's doing that for years.
Mhm.
She eventually, when she got out, she just left the country. She was in France with her brothers,
Mhm.
and her brother. Scroll back up to the pronunciation here.
Right.
Shanawaz was found dead of poisoning.
Oh!
Wow.
Like they went out for they found him the next morning and he'd been dead for several hours.
Oh my gosh.
Like okay.
Were they using
Wow.
Macbeth as a playbook?
Right. My goodness gracious. Were
And it's,
Hamlet's
like, in
parents involved in this? Wow.
She said she's going to go back to Pakistan, and she decides she's going to carry on her father's legacy.
Sweet.
But she realizes, like, she can't really... Like, she needs to get a husband to make herself seem a little bit more, like, legitimate.
So she needs
'Cause,
like
you know,
a Jackie
An
Kennedy.
unmarried woman is just questionable.
Right.
But, so she asked her mother to help arrange a marriage for her.
Okay,
At her
yeah.
request. And they found a guy who... I didn't even write down his name.
He was significant.
Right.
He was, but I didn't, it's not about him. No.
Yes.
He was some kind of, dude from another upper middle class,
Right.
whatever.
The good match on
But
paper
He's
thing.
a little shady.
Right.
He ends up getting the nickname of 10% leader because it's a rumor that he takes 10% off the top of deals.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Businessman.
But, I mean, they seem to have a good relationship.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool.
But
He doesn't end up dead or chloroformed.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Let this saga
Yeah,
continue.
yeah.
Right. Sorry.
Yes.
Can't jump too far ahead.
But she campaigned to be prime minister,
Okay.
and she campaigned while pregnant.
Ah.
She had her medical records switched because she knew military leader dude of the country
Oh.
would try to call elections from around her due date.
Oh.
So she had it said that she was due around December. She actually had the baby in September. So she was ready to go.
Nice. Also, maybe he just didn't know how pregnancy worked, and
Maybe.
fake it by a couple
I
of
don't know.
months. How would you ever know the man?
Yeah. Gee, the baby came prematurely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because shortly after that, he died in a plane crash.
Oh my god.
That works.
By, rumor has it, explosives and a crate of mangoes.
Explosive in the crate of mangoes,
Like
or
he-
Just explosive mangoes.
I don't know.
Because I had some follow-up questions if it was the second one. Like,
But it's
what is an
It was a
explosive mango?
military plane,
Then
and
you're
he's head of the
concerned.
military, and somehow a crate of mangoes is tampered with that is on the plane with him.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I
She was
like it.
betrayed.
He died by mangoes, though.
But she's in 1988 elected prime minister
Whoa.
at the age of 35,
Cool.
becoming the youngest prime minister of a Muslim majority state
Cool.
and the first woman.
Yay!
Ta-da. And her first day of office, she freed all political prisoners and
Sweet.
made media free of censorship.
Ah.
She built 4,800 schools
Oh my god.
and ended polio in Pakistan.
Yay!
Look at
Dang.
that.
She started women's police stations
Sweet.
because they were worried about, when women go to report crimes, they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, but did you really see what you saw?
Right, exactly.
Gaslighting.
Mhm,
Yeah.
To believe
Because
women.
they have the whole thing of, what was it? There's something in their legal system that a woman's word is only worth half as much as a man's.
Wow.
So if a woman's going to report a rape, she needs 4 male witnesses,
Oh my.
which is ridiculous.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
That would have been a broken system, yeah.
Meanwhile, Swimmer Dude had several witnesses.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Anyway, she started women banks that were
Sweet.
staffed by women and only loaned to women, so they could
Oh.
get, small loans to start their businesses or houses or
Sweet.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And she had women courts
Ah,
with women judges.
nice.
But the military had issues following orders that came from a woman.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Nah,
Who'd have thought?
No.
After 20 months, she was removed from office
Oh.
for supposed corruption
Right.
and was
For having a uterus.
Yeah. Well, there was some weird stuff. I forget. She ends up having 2 terms, and I forget if it's the first term or the second term or both. She does kind of elect mostly family members to her
Okay.
cabinet.
Right.
Just a little weird.
Is the 10% guy also?
Yeah, it's her husband.
Yeah, so there's
I don't think
that,
he
yeah.
carries an official position, but I think it's a lot of it of
Right.
hey,
There's
you have a
enough-
meeting with him that maybe he can get you in with her.
Right.
It's a little.
I
A
don't know,
little
but
suspect.
considering her
Mhm.
background, who would she trust?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Like she ended up making
There's
Maybe a
that.
trust
her,
thing.
Yeah.
her mother at one point basically the treasurer.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So
Gotcha.
yeah,
So, I mean, it
it's
is what it
just
is, but at the
eh.
same time, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
what would you do in that situation?
Well, it's supposed corruption, but they never actually charge anyone
Right.
with anything. It's very weird.
Right. Okay. I'm with you.
But she was offered to have the charges dropped if she just stayed out of politics,
So
which is also
obviously-
very suspect.
Right, because it's not really like a noble crime or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's just, well, if you just never are in power again, it'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
Yep. But she gets sworn in as prime minister again in 1993.
Okay.
And I didn't write down the details of how that ended, if she even finished her term.
You know what? And I feel like I should remember because 1993, I was a little more plugged into the world. However,
I was in second grade.
I know. I was gonna say I was also really trying to drink as much as I could. So, and I think Kurt Cobain was on the scene. You know what I'm saying? I was a little preoccupied.
Maybe.
There were things in 1993.
But sometime after her second term as prime minister ends,
Yes.
she spends 8 years in proposed exile.
Okay.
So, she leaves voluntarily for
Right.
for her safety.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
They didn't kick her out, but she felt like she needed to leave.
Yeah, the death threats are too high. I'm gonna
She
go.
read the room.
Right. Yeah, Garrett, yes.
And she,
Y'all are trying to kill me. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go.
she spends 8 years in exile. Her husband spends 11 years in prison,
Oh, okay.
not eventually charged with anything for
Oh.
supposed corruption.
Okay, sure.
And then
Maybe he was their bargaining chip.
Right.
I don't know.
I'll give you the 10% guy.
Yeah.
She spends up. I think they said.
Stay out of the country or your husband gets it.
Mhm.
We know where he is.
I mean, they had him. Like, if they wanted to kill him, they could have killed him. Like,
Yeah.
11 years. Yeah, all the opportunity.
But if they
to.
did, there could have been more sympathy for her, though. She could have actually,
They killed. Like, I don't think they knew that like she was running the stuff.
Right.
Like, so I don't think they would have felt that bad about killing him. I
Right.
think it's weird that they didn't kill him.
It must have been some, like
I don't know.
Lisa
They
was saying,
got
a
no
bargaining
problem
chip.
killing her
Yeah.
dad.
Right.
I don't know.
Different
Do you
time.
think she just kind of left him there? I'm sorry, I've been watching a new TV show where the main character's husband cheats on her, and then she
Just
he
kinda-
goes to jail for something, and she's like, "Well,
Karma.
They seem
Right.
to have an okay relationship for what they
Okay,
could spin
gotcha.
together.
Right.
It was definitely not a like I heard over and over again. It's definitely not a marriage of equals.
Yeah.
mm.
But it didn't seem like they really had any troubles besides, the exile and the prison and the
Seems like they
threat
spent a lot
maybe
of
being
time
killed.
apart anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
I don't really know you anyway.
They did have. I'm trying to remember. I didn't
Oh,
write
did
them
they have
down.
kids?
They did
They
have
had
kids.
one
They had at
right?
least
Oh, yeah.
three.
Not one, 3.
Okay,
Wow.
gotcha.
But I want to say
So they
there
were
might have
together
been
3 times.
at least.
It happened.
I think they had at least 3. 'Cause
Okay.
I remember they talked about it on a podcast that I was listening to.
Okay, gotcha.
So at least 3. But she spends a lot of time of that exile, I believe, in Dubai.
Okay.
And she decides it's time to come back.
Yeah.
And she's prepping for a third run.
Oh.
She's just starting on her campaign. The night of her return, they're having, like, she makes a big thing of, she requests that she's on this plane. There's a whole bunch of, like, her supporters on the plane, and they keep, like, just cheering, like, the whole plane ride.
Right.
And she requests that stairs be brought so she can walk down the stairs. So immediately after she gets down to the bottom, she kisses the ground because she's like, "Oh, my home country!
She has returned to the
returned.
motherland." Yes,
But
yes.
They pretty
Your
much
savior has landed.
they pretty much have just like a parade, like all day.
Right.
But like when it gets to night, they start to notice that the streetlights are going dark
Oh.
as they're going down along.
Right.
And there's an explosion.
Oh no.
And there was 150 killed.
Oh
my.
But not her.
Oh.
But
But they were
150
trying to
killed.
get her.
You had a
Yeah.
bomb. How could you miss?
Wow.
Well, this isn't even the first time they tried to kill it. They talked about,
Right.
it's not really funny, but there were several attempts before that just failed.
Yeah.
At one time, some dudes were planning to place a bomb in the sewer in front of her house that I
Okay.
guess goes over like a walkway that they notice that she walks over every time she leaves.
Okay.
And police were like outside the house seeing these dudes hanging around the sewer, and they were like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, I dropped my glasses in the sewer." And the police is like, "You need to just leave them and go."
Right.
Get a new
It's like-
pair.
So they were not
Like,
very coy about it.
No, and then there was another dude. They arranged to hire a sniper dude,
Right.
and they had like planned it all out, and they had like the building for him to be on, and they knew the location of where she was going to be, and all this stuff, and just the sniper was late. Like he missed his bus.
You had one job.
Never hire a tardy.
And
sniper.
that's like,
Makes you wonder how
who
many
knows how
times
many
people have hired snipers for you,
Oh,
right?
right. Exactly.
Just
I used to start my my Facebook day of "Good morning. I see the assassins have failed," but apparently they were late. I guess so. Sweet.
yeah, she survived that one.
Wow.
And she stayed in the country, like starting to get
Goodness.
her campaign like ready. She's going out, she's making speeches, you know, she's calling back home, and like her husband, like every time she would go out, her husband's like, "Can you please just stay at home?" And she's
Right.
like, "No, like I've got to do this stuff. Like I'm not staying
I
home."
have a debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the 27th of December, she went to a local park,
Yeah.
which was named after the first prime minister of Pakistan,
Okay.
who was also assassinated.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah.
she made a speech there, and she got in her car, and the people are just like, they won't let her leave. Like
Right.
they just love her so much.
Right.
They're like pounding on her car. So she opens the sunroof to go out and wave to him, and then there's some shots and another explosion,
Oh no.
and 22 other people die as well as her.
Oh no.
They end up there's a whole thing about like the security.
Yeah. Where were they? Yeah.
It's a whole thing. So
It's like a JFK conspiracy sort of thing.
in
Oh,
September
no.
she was in the US, and
Okay.
she had met with, like, she made a speech in front of Congress, basically
Yeah.
being like, "This military dude is
They're trying to
not
kill
the
me."
best."
Right.
And she's trying to get political backing to get funding from the US to
Yeah,
back
yeah.
her instead of military dude. And she writes a senator, like, she leaves him an email of, you know, "If I die,
Yeah.
the military dude, like, has to be behind it. Like, there's no
Right.
question." She's like, "Don't release this email unless I die."
Right.
But it's just nuts.
Oh wow.
But there's like a whole thing of like the security was like weird
Yeah.
for the whole thing.
Gotcha.
But they ended up, like, her aide was with her in the car, and they talked about trying to rush her to the hospital. They're supposed to, their police escort was just gone by the time the shot.
Oh.
It was just gone. There was no one there with them.
Right.
So they tried to drive, but the tire was blown out from the explosion.
Oh,
So the
okay.
guy
Yeah,
went
yeah.
as far as he could on the rims, and the car got stuck. So they flagged down a Jeep to rush her to the hospital.
Right.
And they kept talking about how she didn't have a pulse.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, sounds like she's dead.
Right.
But they took her to the hospital. They got her on a gurney, got her in there. They couldn't get a pulse when she was at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up opening her up to try and massage her heart to get her heart going.
Yeah.
They worked on her for an hour before they declared her dead.
Right.
And I'm like, what? They're
They're
doing
doing the
if there's
due
no
diligence.
pulse an
Yeah.
hour ago.
There's
I
not
don't
going to be a
know.
pulse
I think
now,
they tried as much as they could. Before
Yeah.
I was gonna
they
say, do you
declared
think
it dead.
that's a reflection on what the people felt for her?
No, because they actually for the park being named after the other prime minister, the doctor that worked on him is the father of the doctor that worked on her.
Oh, God.
And it's weird that neither one of them could save them. It's these weird parallels.
Right. Like a predestined thing.
It's nuts.
Wow.
But she last time she was home, she had picked out a plot for
Gotcha.
where she wanted to be buried.
She kind of knew this was endgame.
Yeah, it's
Probably.
weird though. She talks about her death, and she with her religion, she just believes that your time of death is just set, and there's
Right.
nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So this last tour of her being home, they put up bulletproof shields for her to stand behind, and she wasn't standing behind them.
Oh, gotcha.
She was
It's if it's
I
gonna
don't
happen,
know if
gonna
it's
happen.
I'm just not. I'm going to show people I'm not afraid, or she just
Right.
was not afraid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Her family was very afraid for her,
Right,
but
of course.
she was very much I have to do this.
Yeah. It's easier to make the choice than to watch somebody else make that choice. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Uh,
wow.
But yeah, December 27th of 2007.
Oh my goodness.
So not let's see, 2007
yeah.
be
Oh no. There's math
14 years
involved?
ago?
14 years ago.
I was going to say, let me
Almost
just
today.
sip this rum again.
Yeah, almost to the day.
14
Oh my
years and 1 day
goodness.
ago.
Mm. Raise a glass for sure. Oh my goodness
Yes.
gracious.
But she ended up leaving a will, basically
Okay.
designating that her son, who when she died was 19,
Okay.
and her husband to take over the PPP.
The PPP.
The PPP.
Yes.
And I was trying to look up right before we record. I saw something on one of the documentaries that I watched that I think her daughter or daughters.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many kids.
Gotcha.
I feel like they had more than 3 because
Okay.
I feel like they had 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay. Gotcha.
And maybe the same daughter. I'm not sure.
I can put it
One
in
of
the show
them-
notes. Yes.
Has definitely taken up to do end polio.
Oh, okay.
So I'm I thought you already ended polio,
Right.
but
There was
definitely
a
healthcare
Comeback coming.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If people weren't getting vaccinated, it could come back.
And then
Go
either
figure.
Right.
And then if it wasn't the same daughter, then it was another daughter was I believe doing stuff for education.
Okay.
Which I am like,
I was gonna ask if any of them ran for any office, but it
I
sounds like
don't-
they chose political service
I
though,
don't
just
think
in other
so.
ways.
yet. I
So-
think that in their rules, you have to be at least 25 to run.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it would not surprise me if one of the
in the
kids
future,
does.
right? They're just not.
I am also waiting on Miss Malala
I
to
know,
get her
right?
button gear.
This is true.
Like,
She just got
Malala.
married.
She just got married,
Mm-hmm.
and she also went to Oxford.
She did.
She's
Mhm.
also been kind of in self exile,
Right,
in
exactly.
Britain
Yeah.
for
Malala
Yousafzai.
Yousafzai.
Yusuf Sai.
Yousafzai. There we go. I tried to do it in 2 syllables, and there's 3. Yes, exactly. She would be a great leader.
Like she said that Benazir Bhutto
Yes.
is one of her idols, and she
Yes.
I think was studying political science.
So there's a chance.
I mean, she did go back and visit Pakistan, like a kind of like a quickie. Like they didn't let people know she was
Yeah,
coming.
It's got to be incognito. Yeah.
So
That would be
I
cool.
don't know. I also don't want anything to happen to Malala.
Yes, this is true.
But
Yes.
I've been like waiting. I'm waiting.
Right, exactly. Well, she's going to do amazing things.
Yes.
So it's just in what vein is it amazing?
Right.
I will be patient.
But see, the podcast I was listening to.
Yes.
Okay, there's 2 documentaries that are available on Canopy through
Okay.
your local library.
Yes.
It's like you can it's like Netflix through your library.
right, exactly.
It's like documentaries and stuff. There's 2 on there, and I was also listening to a series from a reporter that actually knew her
Gotcha.
through work.
Do you remember the name of the documentaries?
I think one's just called Benazir Bhutto.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They
Okay.
both have her name in it.
Okay, so
if
search
you put
for
up
her
Benazir
name.
Bhutto, the
Gotcha.
2 will pop up.
Okay, got it. And then
the BBC podcast.
yes.
If you put in Benazir Bhutto and BBC, it comes up. It's like the assassination series,
Gotcha.
and it's got her
Nice.
by a BBC.
I mean, I
Yeah,
can't
it's
believe
just
there's
called
an
The
assassination.
Assassination.
Right?
But I don't know
I
if
kind of believe it.
I mean,
this
yeah.
is like the only assassination series, or if they have a series of assassination
Okay, gotcha.
things. But it's 10 episodes.
Okay.
And they've not investigated her death.
Oh my gosh.
They're like they cleaned up the crime scene within hours.
Right. Yeah.
Everything
kind of
about
sounds
it
like
is
Kennedy
like
a
weird.
little bit. Yeah. Right. Just erase. It's
but
totally fine. It's all right. We knew it was coming.
They go into detail on this podcast of how they identified the person responsible.
Yeah.
So if you want those details,
Right.
you have to listen to that podcast.
There you go. All right.
I'll
I can
tell
put
you ladies in a minute.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
I can put it in the show
was
notes.
a
Yes.
15-and-a-half-year-old boy
Oh.
who, like, he's from a rough area and just needed education and all the stuff that she was trying to do.
To give to him. Yeah.
It's just like,
Oh no, heartbreaking. Oh.
but it's just it's
Like,
nuts. It's been 14 years and they haven't. They're like, meh. They're like, he's dead anyway. Like, why are we even gonna
Right.
look into it?
Oh goodness gracious.
But,
Because closure is nice to
Yeah.
have.
But I think, as far as I know,
Aw.
I think her mother is still alive.
Okay, gotcha.
And,
But it sounds like in her political time, she did a lot of awesome stuff, though.
Mhm.
So,
she kept her
Mhm.
father's line going. She did her own thing, and in either her kids or Malala, I'm sure, will pick
Right.
up her
there you go.
her
Torch, and she
Yes.
helped out a lot of women in a country that could use
Sounds
help for a lot of
incredible,
women.
yeah.
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 I want a female police force. And
Yeah, right?
I only go to female doctors.
Yeah.
Yep.
I request
Yeah.
wherever I can.
Exactly. I was very disappointed. I once got to sign up with a doctor just by looking at names, and I'm like, Terry, gotta be a woman doctor. And I walked in, and I'm sure the look on my face was not great. I'm like going, oh, that's right. That is a gender neutral name.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
There are several books. One by her
Yes.
that she was working on when she died.
Oh, yeah.
We have one in the library. I don't know
That's
if
what I
that's
thought.
that one. It's gonna be over there because it's beef.
It's a beat.
It's a bee.
Beep,
but
beep.
I'm trying to I see Bella. I see it. Recognition. We have Recognition.
Mhm.
That's the book we have of hers.
Very good.
Sweet. I'm so glad I could read sideways.
Come learn more.
Exactly. Come to the library and see more.
Yes.
Exactly. Do you want me to wrap it up,
Yes.
darling? Sweet. I guess I should say, do you have any questions for Bonnie?
Yes.
No?
No.
Okay. All
As
right.
long as it's not about her kids.
Right, exactly.
We'll
Yes,
get
how
to that
many
part.
and what are their names? And oh my gosh, I'm finding
So
the
at
paper.
least 3.
Well, that wraps us up for this week. Join us next week for another cool woman of history as the Gals Guide podcast continues. Thanks for listening. For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gals Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.